Up next, Unbothered, a Speaking of show by WFSU. This week, we're discussing a watermelon festival. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unbothered. I'm your host, Jason Acuna, and today I'm joined by our audio engineer, Evan Rossi.
Howdy.
And our interim news director, Regan McCarthy.
Hey, Jason.
As you guys know, it is extremely hot outside. We're getting into the dog days of summer, and a lot of people's favorite summer snack is watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons for that is that watermelons are 92% water. So a very hydrating snack for the summer to keep you moving and grooving through the heat.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know if you guys knew this, but there are actually 1,200 varieties of watermelon.
Get out of town.
Okay, wait, I really didn't know that. Does that, are we counting, have you heard of the square watermelons? Like in Japan, they used to sell,
Yes.
or maybe they still do sell square watermelons so they go in the refrigerator more easily.
Well, boy, are you going to love my next fun fact, but we'll get to that in just a moment. So the four main categories, they are seeded or picnic, seedless, icebox, and yellow or orange watermelons.
And those are the cowards.
That have yellow.
Those are the cowardly
The yellow
ones.
watermelons. Well, the yellow-bellied ones, I've heard from a farmer, are actually, that's how you know they're ripe, when the underside where the watermelon sits on in the field turns yellow.
I've heard this as well.
That's, you know it's ripe then.
Well, speaking of ripe watermelons,
Yes.
going back to those box or cube watermelons out of Japan, they have perfected the art of growing square or cubed watermelon. However, in order for it to be cost effective, they have to harvest those watermelons prior to them being ripe, so they are inedible. You
Wait.
can't eat those watermelon.
Novelty
I'm
wow.
sorry, what's the point of the watermelon?
They look really cool.
How long does that last?
You know, I would hope it's for at least a little while, but I'd imagine it's based off of conditions, you know, how cold you keep your home and how humid it is in that part of Japan. So things like that, but not forever for
and
sure.
There's a market for that?
The optimist in me says that there's a market for everything, Regan, but the pessimist in me says there's a sucker born every minute.
Okay, I'll take that.
So do you guys have any stories about watermelons, any special connections to watermelons in your past?
So my big memory when I think of watermelons really does go back to those hot days of summer that you were talking about. So growing up, my dad was a school teacher. And of course, we all know school teachers, they take the summer off, right? Except my dad wasn't taking the summer off. He joined with some other school teachers and some other guys from the community, and they would have a summer-long construction business. And my dad would come home for the day and he would just be, so hot, so much work. And he would go to the refrigerator where it seemed like he had a never-ending supply of giant watermelons, always in the refrigerator, taking up the whole top shelf, right?
Because they weren't cubes.
Right. These were the large ovals, no cubes. And he would just cut it in half. And then he would have a big watermelon bowl, right? And he would eat the whole watermelon with a spoon out of his giant watermelon bowl as his recovery fuel after the long day of construction, except for he would always let me go first, and I would get the very center of the middle of the watermelon bowl, where it's always the juiciest and the tastiest and there's no seeds. He called it the heart of the watermelon, and he'd be like, go ahead, get your dig in there, get the heart. And I'd eat that watermelon heart. It was so good. And then he'd just dig in on the rest of that watermelon. So now every time that I think about watermelon, I think about my dad.
Aw, that's such a nice story.
It's adorable.
I feel like a lot of people have connections to watermelon. And North Florida has an incredibly strong connection to watermelon. Back in the 1940s, Jefferson County was responsible for 80% of the nation's watermelon seeds. And they've celebrated that fact for 74 years running in Monticello with the Monticello Watermelon Festival. And so our very own Tom Flanigan spoke with one of the organizers.
Well, there sure are big doings this weekend in mighty Monticello, the Jefferson County seat. It's the 74th Annual Watermelon Festival, and we've got event co-director Katie Truelove on the line to fill us in on all the happenings. Katie?
All this festival fun week will culminate on Friday, June 13th. Our festival is from 3 to 9 p.m. That night, we're going to have our watermelon jam, which we used to call our street dance. All that fun starts at 7. the festival itself is open from 3 to 9 on Friday. And then on Saturday, festival opens at 9. We have our watermelon parade at 10 a.m. And then the festival will be open all day until 3 p.m.
You know, Katie, we've become such an urban kind of society. So it's sort of easy to forget what a real fun time you can have in a traditional small town setting.
Yes, exactly. This is the most small town fun that you have ever seen. And the people of Monticello are so amazing. They're so welcoming. And it's amazing to work with the festival and to see all the vendors. We actually have 140 vendors that we'll be bringing in to teeny tiny Monticello next weekend. So that's going to be so fun with all the food and the fun. We actually have several really interesting booths. One of them is a mobile VR gaming trailer where kids at heart can climb in the air conditioning specifically and try out their hand at some virtual reality games. That's going to be so fun. We have a mechanical bull rider set up. For the kids, we have all kinds of stuff. Obstacle courses. We have a vendor this year who has these giant hamster balls the kids can roll around in. We have face painting, and of course, all the yummy food. I mean, you can't go to a festival and not enjoy the food. And some of the things that I'm looking forward to the most are these agua frescas by a booth called A&M Concessions that are freshly made right in front of you. We have all kinds of barbecue. One of our vendors has mac and cheese egg rolls. Tom, have you ever heard of a mac and cheese egg roll?
That is a new one on me, Katie. I've never heard of that.
So, yeah, we're just so excited.
And what does it mean for the community, though, Katie? Because when you get this kind of attention and this kind of turnout, because we're talking thousands of people who come out for this.
Exactly.
What does it mean to, like, local merchants and the chamber people and all that?
Exactly. So the festival actually has over $100,000 economic impact on the city of Monticello, and the festival itself is a fundraiser for the Monticello Jefferson County Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce uses those funds to help local businesses thrive. That's their main purpose. They help businesses with education, with marketing. They have a small business grants program that they administer. So they are definitely making a difference in the business community of Monticello and Jefferson County every single day. And the festival helps fund the things that the chamber is doing.
Oh, that is terrific. Katie, free time. Anything else you want to throw in you think we might have missed?
No, the only other thing I wanted to mention is to say a big thank you to our festival sponsor, True Leave. And we are so excited to have everyone come to Monticello. And if they have any questions and want to get more information, they can check out our website at MonticelloWatermelonFestival.com.